All right, so I'm waiting for the oil to drain out. So I already drained it out. And if you guys want to see the oil change video, I have that up already. So you could look for the oil change video. I think it's the second video or third video I made for this bike. This video is for the oil filter. So here's the oil filter. That's the part number. And the oil filter gasket. Okay. So you need 8mm wrench. So I'm just under 600 miles. I'm about 590 miles, I think, approximately. So this is basically the break-in oil change. And actually, I did a first oil change back around 100 miles or so, somewhere around 100 miles, and that was an oil change only. I didn't do any. I didn't change the filter. So now I'm actually changing the filter and oil, doing both. So you can see what how to change this filter. The main thing with changing this filter is you make sure that you put the filter in the right put it in the right direction. So people that have this bike, they actually there's been cases where people actually put the filter in backwards, and basically you get no oil flow. And when that happens, you basically mess up your engine, and you have to rebuild the whole entire engine, because all those moving parts are not getting oil, so they all got basically messed up. So all your bearings, all the contact points, like up in on the head, all the the camshaft and all that stuff, all that's gets all damaged with lack of oil. And your gears are meshing together without lubrication. So all those things. So basically, it's cheaper just to get an engine from a junkyard and from a scrapyard and replace the engine instead of trying to rebuild it. All right, so I took the 4 bolts off. There's a spring on here. That's why this filter or this cap pushed out. So be mindful of that. And there's a spring right there. All right, so let's see if it falls down. Nope, it stays in there. Sometimes it falls down. So let me trip that out a little bit here. And obviously I have this oil pan underneath the bike, catching the oil from the drain bolt, but also because my drain bolt's still open, but also catching the oil from opening up this filter. And you saw oil dripping down to here. That's because there's a little bit of about an ounce or so of oil that's still in here after all the oil's been drained. So as you look at the filter here, right here on the face of the filter it says outside, or right here it says towards filter cover. So you know exactly which side is on, and that's more recent. When this engine first came out, they didn't have that. They didn't have this, it said which side is which, back in, I think it was 2010 or 2011 on the CB250, CBR250 was the first version of this engine. And if I can remember right, they didn't have this, so people were actually putting this in instead of like so. They were putting it in like this way, where the actual opening, because the opening right here of the filter is supposed to, mate with the this opening right here. So it's supposed to be like that, but people were putting it in like this. People that don't know what they were doing, first timers. So that's how all those engines got destroyed. Let's look at this filter real fast. This is probably going to be the dirtiest it will ever be. It's the first 600 miles. And you see little particles. Actually, I see a little metallic, like a little metallic flake right there. That's just That's from being new, all the engine from machining and all that stuff. You see a lot of little fibers too along here. I'm not sure if that's the actual filter, the fiber from the filter, or from inside. I'm thinking it's from the inside. Like this right here, for example. There's a little bit of fiber right here. See that? On the tip of my finger right there. So I see a whole bunch of fiber along here. I think that's from the braking process. This, when they put this together, the engines, when it's brand new, it's not perfectly clean. There's always little lints and dust and whatever. So you gotta be mindful of all that stuff. Right. So let's go back a little bit. Go back up here. All right. So now that's off. So my filter is still on here, or excuse me, my gasket still on here. So the gasket, this is the part that always gets me. I always forget which side it goes on. Well, actually, you know which side, because it's asymmetrical. So you know which side. There's only one way of putting it in, but sometimes, because if you look at the filter or the gasket itself, you see that it's not really flat. There's a little bit of dimension to it, right? So obviously it goes in like this. There's no other. It doesn't fit any other way. But sometimes certain filters, like for example, on my Monkey or my Super Cub, the whole thing is symmetrical. So it doesn't matter which you don't know which side is which, and I always forget which side it is. So yeah. So anyway, so it's that way. So this one, you don't have to worry about with this model, because there's only one way to put it in. So take this off. So chances are you can actually even reuse this thing if you want. You probably get away with reusing it, but it's so cheap that I'm gonna put in a new one. And looking at this old one, it looks fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. So I could probably reuse this thing if I want, but I'm not, since I already have a new filter gasket. So you wipe the mating surface clean. Alright, whatever oil's in here, soak that up. You don't want the oil to get onto the mating surface, making a mess there. So that's good there. It's all good. Everything looks clean. Oil looks clean, because this oil only has 500 miles on. About 500 miles on it. So here's the new one. It goes in like so, like this way. So double check it real fast. Make sure the new one's clean as well. And this is how I'm holding it, so that way I don't get the. You hold it like a CD, so the surface doesn't get dirty. Actually, let me get my oil filter on here. And actually, looking at the oil filter here, you actually see little fibers as well. So maybe not on the old one. Not all those fibers are from the dirtiness of the bike. Because some of it's probably some of it is the material itself. So I'm actually looking in the hole here. I could actually see the backside, the inside of where the filter is, the perforation, and I could see there's actual metal, a piece of metal around there that's perforated, and that's actually supporting the filter. So because oil is going, this is the outside of the oil filter, and that's the inside. So oil is going from the outside into the inside and out this hole right here. So it needs that back screen to support this so it doesn't collapse. So remember the rubber, is that with the hole with the rubber seal gasket? Put it in that way, and it should actually stick, because that rubber here sort of sticks onto this thing right here, because it inserts, so it'll hold itself in place. And again, if you're not sure, right there, right on the words, it says outside, and another one it says towards filter cover. Real clear. Again, a long time ago they didn't have this, and people, back in the CBR 250, when that first came out, there were, numerous cases of people doing it themselves and not doing it right, and they actually put it in backwards, and that was a very expensive mistake. All right, so I'm gonna put this on like so. Make sure it's in the right way. See a little lint right here, a little bit of lint. Let me get that lint off. All right, so cover. Again, the cover has the spring on there. Make sure the spring's still on there. So, and actually, you know what? Let me. I didn't wipe the outside of the covers right here. Let me wipe this outside where the mounting bolts are. So if you notice, after I took it off, this is the first time I've ever taken this off, and the paint is already chipped off because when this thing's painted, and when they screw it on, it gets pretty tight, and it kind of breaks the paint off, and that's loosening, or that's basically sort of a lot of it's chipped off now, scratched off, so which is fine. It's no big deal. I want to break all that stuff loose, so there's no. I want to break it all loose, so there's no nothing dangling and hanging around. Okay, so now I have more oil from here. It's actually dripping out. I should have wiped this inside as well, so it doesn't drip and it doesn't get this mating surface all oily. Okay, oops, got a little bit of lint, or actually, that's the paint. That's the paint from my rag. I used a dirty spot on the rag, and I got paint from the cover in there. Okay, now it looks clean. Oops, oh, that's in my hand. That's from my hand right there. Crap, dirtiness from my hand. Now I should have used a brand new rag. This rag I'm using is actually all used up and dirty. Should have used a new rag. Okay, now it's good. Alright, so put that on. So that spring's gonna push the cap off, or the cover off, so you have to actually kind of push the cover in a little bit. Geez, why is this? I feel resistance. Oh, you know what? The cover is probably not quite on straight. It's one side to the other corner. Basically holds the cover in place. Make sure it's in there like 3 threads. 3 threads should be enough to just hold it in place. That's in. That's in. Okay. So all 4 sides are in. All 4 bolts, I should say. Now we could basically. Oh shit! Ooh, almost dropped it into my oil pan. I had to push the oil pan in. So if I drop it, it drops on the floor instead of in the oil pan. That wouldn't be the first time I've done that. I've done that many times, dropping tools into the oil pan. It's always a mess. And it's all it is just a mess. Doesn't do nothing. Actually, it might be a good thing for the tool, because it's nice to have a film of oil on your tools, so that way it doesn't keep it from corroding, keep it from rusting. So I'm basically just going, back and forth on each corner, crisscross pattern. You can see a bit of oil dripping down here, which is fine, no big deal. Ideally, I would prefer it to be dry, but again, it's no big deal. So let me actually flip my sock inside out, my oil rag. So I always use old socks, socks that are basically, stretched out. Like this sucker here is all stretched out right here at the calf, so it doesn't really hold. It doesn't stay anymore. So that's when I start using old socks, old t-shirts, old underwear. But I prefer socks because old sock is the inside anyways. It's like a terry cloth. So it has more absorption. But the bad thing about that is that it tends to leave a little bit more lint and it snags too. And that's where I prefer using like an old t-shirt, especially white t-shirts, because when you use old white t-shirts, you know, you could see what the dirt is and everything. That way, when you use like a dark, you know, like for example, you were using black socks, you can't tell if that socks, you know, wherever you wipe, you can't tell if it's a clean spot or a dirty spot. So that's why I prefer using white, so you could see where everything is. So I spun the bolt until it stopped, and that's just by hand only, or finger tight only. I'm not wrenching down on it yet. So okay, so all 4 sides is pretty much tight there. Now I'm doing a little bit more force or pressure, right? And in a crisscross pattern, a little bit more each time I cross it over again. I add a little bit more pressure on my hands, and notice where I'm holding it. I'm not holding it all the way over here. I'm holding it like right here, like kind of like an Allen wrench almost, because these are small, you know, these are small small bolts, small head bolts, so they don't need that much pressure. And that's it. I'm done. All I need to do is just put the oil drain plug back in and fill it with oil. And this thing uses, I think, about 1.5 liters of oil, or 1.5 bottles basically. So yeah, so that's it. So that's the oil filter, and you know, if you want to see the oil change video, I have that up already, and this is the oil filter change. That's it. All right, thanks for watching.